Is this all-white graphics card the best bang for buck GPU on the market right now?
This is a $60 graphics card from AliExpress. It's all white, it looks super clean, and it might be the only GPU you realistically need. But before we dive into today's video, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon is cereal reinvented. It's the same great taste that you remember, but upgraded with grown-up ingredients. It contains 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving. As someone who is watching my sugar intake, it's always difficult to find exciting and delicious options, but Magic Spoon fits the bill while only being 140 calories per serving. The variety pack comes in 4 delicious flavors: fruity, frosted, cocoa, and peanut butter. The best part about Magic Spoon is that it fits a variety of lifestyles. It's high protein, keto friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, and naturally flavored. With Magic Spoon, I'm able to enjoy one of my child favorites again. Click the link in the description down below to grab a variety pack and try it today. And be sure to use the promo code ToastyBros at checkout to get $5 off any order, or go to magicspoon.com/toastybros. Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click the link down below and use code ToastyBros for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/toastybros to save $5 today. Big thanks to Magic Spoon for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get right back to it.
So yes, this is an RX 580 8GB 2048 stream processor, and before we talk about this card, we just got to give a shout out to that price. At $60 on AliExpress, this is pretty much the cheapest new graphics card that we have seen in a long time, and we think it's going to be really good for the price, but of course, that's why we're here. We got to test it.
And of course, we've tested a lot of 580 2048 stream processors. What makes this one most appealing is the price and also the color scheme. You can make a super clean build, which we will be doing, by the way, so stay subscribed for that, using this graphics card while on a budget. And we're really just here today to test whether or not this card will actually cool properly. Is this a good 580 2048? Does it perform like it's supposed to? Well, let's talk about those cards real quick for those who hasn't seen one before, and then talk about the test bench. So the 580 2048 stream processor is a Polaris 20 GPU with 8 gigs of GDDR5 memory. It is 14 nanometer and was released on October 15th of 2018. It has a base clock of 1168 megahertz and a boost clock of 1284 megahertz. And it has a TDP of 150 watts with a suggested power supply of 450 watts. These things are very power efficient. Paired with like a 500 watt power supply, you have no problems whatsoever. You can even go less if you want to. And overall, it's still a really good value card in 2023. But let's talk about the test bench we're going to test it in, and then dive into some game testing to see if this is the real deal.
Now to go over our test bench, we have the Ryzen 7 5700X 8-core 16-thread cooled by a very nice 240mm liquid cooler for all that cooling capacity. We have 32 gigs of PNY Accelerate 3600 MHz RGB RAM, a 1TB Team Group NVMe SSD. We have an Asus TUF B550 Micro ATX. We have an XPG 650 watt 80 plus bronze power supply, and then all of this is inside of a very nice deep cool case with lots of RGB fans that run very fast, so we have good airflow. So now that we've talked about the graphics card and we talked about the test bench, let's go ahead and bring it over to our benchmark station and see how this thing performs.
Alright guys, now that we have this $60 GPU all unboxed and ready to go, let's dive into some game testing, shall we? Now the games we decided to test are as follows. We got Cyberpunk, Far Cry 6, CSGO 2, the open beta, Apex Legends, and Fortnite. Now first up with Cyberpunk, 1080p medium settings with balanced FSR, we got an average of 55 FPS, a minimum of 42, and a max of 70. We have tested Cyberpunk so many times with the built-in benchmark with these RX 580 2048 stream processor cards, and they yield about the same results every time. You can get close to a 60 FPS experience, especially when using FSR, but it is suggested to go to low settings if you were actually to play the main game. Now, one thing I want to touch on, and a lot of you are probably mentioning, there are rumors out there that this series of GPU is about to lose driver support from AMD, and that is a bit of a bummer, but this card is 7 years old at this point, and there are a lot of these 580s on the market still that are still very adequate cards for 1080p, and it's a bit disappointing that they will lose driver support, but just based on the progression of graphics card generations, it's bound to happen. That doesn't mean these cards will be absolutely unusable when that happens, though. It just won't be great for new game releases that would get game-ready drivers to be optimized for them, and it won't be great for games that get continual updates. So if you're someone who just plays CSGO all day or League of Legends, this 580 is probably going to be perfectly fine. There's no major graphical updates to those games normally, and you should be fine to get a good playable experience for years to come with this card, even though it won't have driver support. But that is something to keep in mind, but don't be too disappointed disappointed because I still think they will be viable cards for years to come, even when that happens. Now let's dive into Far Cry 6, 1080p medium settings, and this time we decided to use no FSR to get the maximum performance out of this GPU, and we got a 63 FPS average, a max of 68, and a minimum of 55. Again, Far Cry 6 is a bit of an older game, but it is still a AAA title that can be quite demanding, and getting a 60 FPS average with this card that is 7 years old is very impressive. Now, this is the point of video where I like to mention you need to be sure to pair this thing with a proper CPU, because we are using a Ryzen 7 5700X, which is a higher end CPU, but that is on purpose so we can really maximize the GPU and have no CPU bottleneck. If you pair this card with a really old CPU, you're definitely going to get worse results because you will be bottlenecked by your CPU. So some of the CPUs we do recommend if you're going to build a all-new PC around this graphics card would be something like an i3 10100F or a Ryzen 5 5500 or an i3 12100F. Those would be very good CPUs to where you won't have any bottlenecks and also have a good platform to upgrade in the future. The used market is also a good idea. Look for something like a Ryzen 5 3600 or go with one of those Xeon CPU motherboard combos on AliExpress, which we are going to be doing with this graphics card very soon. So stay subscribed for that, and you should be perfectly fine to get the most out of this graphics card. Now we got a new game in the benchmark rotation, CSGO 2, with their open beta right now, which I would say it's open. You really have to be ranked and then you'll get access to CSGO 2, but whatever. We are running on the high preset and we are recording this as of September 24th of 2023. I mentioned that because betas are continually getting updates, and if you're watching this a year in the future, CSGO 2 is most likely already out, so performance may vary, so do take these numbers with a grain of salt. But if you like this being in the benchmark rotation, let us know in the comment section down below. And with the high preset, we got 144 FPS on average with some dips into the 90s, but overall a very smooth experience. High refresh rate CSGO 2, no problem with this $60 graphics card. I kind of expected that because with esports titles like CSGO 2 and the original CSGO, you want the barrier for entry to be very low because you just want a lot of people to get into this game, and the fact that it runs great on this card is not a surprise to me, and I hope it continually does that even if it does lose driver support in the future. Next up is Apex Legends, another AAA title that is a bit more demanding, 1080p medium settings, and we kind of yielded the same result as CSGO 2, 100 plus FPS, but we had some dips into the 70s at times when things were getting a little bit crazy, and the GPU is running cool. This will be my first mention of the temperatures of this card because on the surface, this is still an RX 580 2048. We kind of know how it performs, but with this specific model, it's an all-white design with some RGB fans. We want to see if the temperatures are good enough for you to pick this one over another, and I'm happy to report it runs super cool. 50 degrees Celsius most of the time, doesn't really get very hot, so definitely a really good option in terms of the design, and for $60, why not get the card that looks really cool, and especially because it's readily available on AliExpress. You can get it in a white version and a black version for I think $55, so there's a lot of options for you to make a really clean PC while also on a budget. And the last game we had to test, of course, is Fortnite. We're running DX12 1080p with TSR Medium, which is their upscaling built into Fortnite. Low settings across the board except high view distance. And we got 90 to 100 FPS with a pretty smooth gaming experience overall. One thing we like to preface is Fortnite is a very CPU dependent game. So no matter what settings we're running at, that CPU is definitely going to be utilized. So make sure you pair this thing with the CPUs you recommended to get optimal performance. But do take these numbers with a grain of salt. I just like to test Fortnite because you all love to see Fortnite benchmarks, and you get upset if we don't test Fortnite. So you know what? There we go. Fortnite runs perfectly fine on this PC with this RX 580 2048, and overall, I'm very happy with the results. I'm very excited because I planned a $300 PC around an AliExpress combo with an all-white motherboard, all-white GPU. I think we're gonna make a really awesome gaming PC for $300. But you're going to have to stay subscribed to see that video. But if you're looking to buy this graphics card right now, I think you should pick it up. It's a really good deal. Link in the description down below will be affiliate links and will help us out. And yeah, RX 580 all white edition. I love to see all these different models that are on the market. There are a lot of options for the consumer, which is really good for us. And because AMD and NVIDIA themselves haven't really updated the really cheap budget market of graphics cards, we have to buy these third-party cards. But I'm not complaining because they exist and they perform very well. So if you want to buy one, again, check the link down below. But yeah, that pretty much wraps the benchmarking section of today's video. How to bring Jackson back in here to wrap this video up real quick.
Alright guys, well we benchmarked this thing, and the good news is it's real. It's a real 580 2048 stream processor. It has a really good selection of graphic display out, and also it just looks really sick for that price. So do we recommend it at that price? Yes, we do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options on AliExpress you can go with, and as we mentioned, there are some slight concerns of driver support being dropped within a year or so because we're getting to that point. But if you're mainly playing esports titles, which if you're buying a $60 graphics card, that should be your focus primarily, even with driver support being removed, you shouldn't have any problems running those titles at 60 plus FPS. So let us know what you think of this card in the comment section down below. Is this the best 580 you've seen here on the channel? And also if you want to buy one yourself, check the links in the description down below. They will be affiliate links, they will help us out. And if there's any other 580s you want to see us benchmark here on the channel, let us know in the comment section down below.
So as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
So as Matt mentioned, this graphics card will actually be used in another gaming PC, which will be for sale at PCBros.tech, along with so many other computers and even our merch.
Build mats, mouse pads, a lot of fun stuff over at PCBros.tech. Use code ToastyBros2 and check out to save 2% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.
Peace out.